One of the biggest shifts in my journey wasn't about drinking less. It was actually about questioning everything that I thought I knew. What if the problem wasn't me, but it was the way that I was taught to think about alcohol in the first place? So if you're listening to this, something maybe has shifted. Maybe you've caught yourself drinking more often than you planned. Maybe you wake up a hangover and a sense of regret. I remember those days. Maybe it's just a quiet feeling that alcohol is taking more than it's actually given. So here's what most people miss. You do not have to wait for a crisis or a rock bottom to want something better. And for almost 100 years, this conversation around alcohol has been shaped by a black and white model. You're either somebody with a problem or you're normal or you're fine. You're either somebody who drinks or you're sober. You're either all in or you don't bother at all. And honestly, that kind of thinking pushes millions of people into being secretive and being silent. People who don't feel like they have a real problem don't know what to do. People who are functioning, successful, and outwardly doing just fine. People who still wake up wondering, however, if their relationship with alcohol could be better. And maybe that's you. And this course, to be honest, isn't here to tell you to quit forever. It's not going to ask you to wear a label, and it's not built around willpower. It's not built around shame or scare tactics, because that old way just really isn't working for most people. But what does work is something called harm reduction. And at its core, harm reduction means helping yourself in any way that reduces the negative impact of alcohol without pressure to quit, without being perfect. And it might look like taking a couple more days alcohol-free. It might look like drinking more mindfully when you do drink. And it might look like swapping one habit for another that actually supports your goal. All in an effort to give your brain and your body what it needs to rebalance and recover. Now, this idea actually comes from the public health sector. It's been used in things like seatbelts, safe sex, and a clean needle program, which you may have read in the paper. It's not about all or nothing. It's about doing something better than you were doing before. And that shift in your mindset, well, that changes everything. Instead of everything on hold, waiting to break down, instead you're making intentional choices. So instead of pushing you to extremes or rock bottoms, you start where you are. So instead of judging yourself and your behaviors, you start to get curious about them. So if you've ever tried to cut back or take a break and it didn't stick, it's not because you're weak. It's not because you lack discipline. It's probably because you were relying solely on willpower. Now, willpower alone is a limited resource. And research shows that your brain actually gets tired of making all these hard choices over and over again. And throughout a day, you make thousands of them. So when you're stressed, you're tired, and you're triggered, that mental energy burns out fast. And that's where systems and support matter, because mindful drinking works best when it's backed with structure. And that's why I partnered with Sunnyside and why I started the podcast Journey to the Sunnyside. And then later, of course, founding Cloud9, because so many people, they struggle with these cravings, poor sleep, low mood, and anxiety. I know I did when they try to reduce drinking. And you're left to figure it out on your own. And we can do better than that. So when we combine small changes with the right tools, habits, and support, that relieves the pressure. And you stop relying on brute force and you start building momentum. So this course is here to help you ask a better question instead. Not, do I have a problem, but is alcohol still working for me? Not, should I quit forever, but what do I actually want for my relationship with alcohol to look like? Not, am I broken, but what would make me feel more in control, more present, and more alive? And these questions, they create space for something new. They leave room for growth. They allow you to make progress without waiting for perfection. So if that old way hasn't worked for you, you're not alone. You're in the right place, and your experiment starts now. So I want to leave you with a reflection. What is one belief that you've held about drinking or change that you're open to unlearning. Okay, I'll see you in the next lesson.